Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. Me and Jackson are going to do one cast today. It's Tuesday, I think it's the 19th of October. I've caught 5 or 6 rainbows, nothing real big. You can kind of see where I'm at. There's the River Point Estates boat ramp. Got kind of an east wind that's really putting on a nice little chop on the water. It's right in the middle of the afternoon. I am using a PJ's. It's a sculpin jig. I'm actually about ready to lose a lot of the marabou, but I'm still catching fish with it. I'll be right back. I'm going to tie another jig on because I've lost almost all the marabou on this. Now you can see what I'm using. It's a sculpin jig with an orange head. It's 1/125th is what PJ's calls it. 6X tippet, fluorocarbon. And I've got way too big a float on, but that's what I was using the other day and I didn't take it off. And I'm fishing about 6 foot deep. I'm going to turn the boat back facing the wind. I'm not quite in the middle of the lake, but I'm close. The wind picked up just a little bit while I was tying that jig, so I got a little more chop. Throwing out about 30 feet from the boat. I don't want to throw out too far because I can't see the float as well. And with a chop like this, I got to watch the float really carefully because they're not taking it under. They're just kind of nothing on the first cast. I was really hoping to catch one. But this is a deal where if you think you see a bite, you set the hook. And with that bobber bouncing up and down, it's a little bit difficult, but certainly not impossible. Especially if it tilts it up and starts to take it under. I don't think they're going to take it under at all. It's too big a float. I should be using a smaller float. But like I said, it's what was on my fly rod, so I didn't change it. The chop on the water pretty much works the jig up and down. But I do like to just kind of give it a little pop every once in a while. Get a little bit of extra action. Stay in one spot, not quite a minute, go out to another spot. You usually get your bite within probably 15 seconds of your cast. It takes a little bit of time for that to drop 6 feet, being as small as it is. So far I've caught one fish that it's a rainbow that's been in the lake for a while. It had some good color, although it wasn't very big, and the other 4 were stalkers, no color, kind of gray looking. The wind's dying down just a little bit so I could see that float a little better. And I saw it just tip up just a little bit. You're probably going to miss a lot of bites when that wind's kicking that water up and there's a real good chop on the water. Kind of a trade-off. Water I'm fishing is probably about 8 foot deep. Maybe 9. I'm still fishing about in the middle of the lake. I'm getting away with 6X because there's a little color in the water. I have been using 7X. Recasting after about a minute. You really don't want to wait any longer than that. You want to put it in front of fresh eyes. I'm using my 5-weight TFO Axiom 2 rod. 9 foot. I think they're supposed to run water again about 4 o'clock, so that means they'll kick it on about 3. But they haven't been running much water at all. As far as volume. I kind of like it better towards the middle. I'm drifting over to the deep side. And I'm in water, I can't see the bottom. So, I'm gonna move. I did try throwing a mega worm, a peach mega worm, when I first got here and did not get any bites. I fished across and a little bit up from the resort this morning for a little while and caught a couple of rainbows on a white mega worm. And then I caught 2 or 3 more on a 14 black zebra midge under a float. About both of them were about 6 feet deep, and they were small stockers, real small. I caught almost all those fish in the shade before the sun came up over the bluff, although it was 11 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock, maybe. I got a little more chop on the water now, and I'm back over here closer to the shallow side. Still fishing almost the middle, but I was getting too far over in that real deep channel. There. This jig combination, the orange head and the either brown or sculpin or olive body marabou, is really my favorite as far as a jig and float. I don't fish it a lot, but it seems like it draws a lot of bites, that orange head and the dark body. Black would work probably, but I like sculpin the best. Sculpin or brown. Let's see, I'll put it down in a different place. I think a lot of times they hit it when it gets to the bottom, when it stops sinking. I think that's when they hit it the most. Because it probably takes 8 or 10 seconds for this to get all the way down. I am going to throw a zebra midge, I think, on this other rod. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to. Oh, I think I just missed one. You really do get in trouble when you second guess. If you think you got a bite, set the hook. These fish might be sitting in the shade. I don't know. Yep. Ooh. Here's one that's got some color. A little bigger fish. Ah. Probably pushing the limits as far as picking that one up. Oh no. Okay. There you go. Let's throw one more time, then I want to throw that zebra midge. Just to see. I would think if they're going to hit this jig, they'd hit a zebra midge, but you never know. But the key is the chop. Chop on the water. If I was out here, bluebird day like it is, not a cloud in the sky, and there was no wind and the water would be flat, number one, I wouldn't be doing this, but if I were, I would not be catching any fish, probably. I shouldn't say I won't catch any fish because you just never know, but as far as fishing ideal conditions versus fishing not ideal, these are pretty good for a bluebird day. And I think I've said this before, we see more these days in the fall, especially the spring, but in the fall than we do summertime. This is an area that a lot of the guides and a lot of our guests fish with bait, night crawlers. They'll anchor over here on the shallow side and throw out in the middle. Okay, that wind's dying down, the chop's dying down. Time to catch fish. I say it because the chop's not as bad and I can see that float a lot clearer if it moves just a little bit. If you do this a lot, if you fish this jig and float in that chop, you have more experience at it. I know guys that fish this way religiously, chop or no chop, but they can flat see that float move in a heavy chop. They'll see that bite when I'm sitting there looking at it. They'll see it. They're good. And it's because they do it a lot. This big float on a fly rod is not a deal either. You can actually hit yourself in the head if you're not careful. I think I'm going to give this a couple more minutes. I'm going to go to the zebra midge. There's HP, he's the owner of Scotty's. He's guiding some people up in front of me. He's about one of the only boats out here. Pretty quiet. Come on, one more chance. Okay. Sorry, not leaving yet. Okay, this is a 14 black, zebra midge with a black tungsten head and chartreuse wire wrap. When I say wire wrap, it's segmented. Segmented on the hook, on the body, to make it look like a bug. Uh-oh. Oh, good. Oh, that's what I was afraid of. I lost my toothpick. I did lose it. Okay. Back up. Well, let's see. Tell you what, I'll be right back. I'm going to put a second zebra on here to give it some weight. If I'm going to fish this 4 or 5 foot deep, I need more weight. Give me a minute. Okay. I have tied on another 14 zebra midge. This one's a red with a brass head and copper thread, copper wire. Altogether, I'm probably 7 foot deep here. Much smaller float, so I'm going to be able to see the bite probably a whole lot better. I saw that bite without my glasses. Pretty small. And I got him on, add him on the red, the bottom one. Something else you could use here would be a beaded scud. I got the float small enough that if I get a bite, it's going to pull it under. I'm going to move up just a tad here in a second. Right now. That wind is really picking up. I moved up a little bit, and I moved out just a little bit. Actually, I moved down lake, but I'm upwind. There's kind of a mini front that's supposed to move through tonight or tomorrow, so maybe that's what this wind's about. It's supposed to cool down a little bit. Again, it is about 42 degrees this morning. Oh, you just barely hit it. Keeping my rod tip right on the water so the wind doesn't blow my line, although it is pushing it. Since it's floating on the surface, it is pushing it. That's why I have to mend every once in a while, because I don't want it to drag my float or my flies. Kind of broke my own rule. I'm leaving it in one spot too long. Now's the time of year you get those flying spiders. You see these spider webs that are blowing across the water. They're just floating across. And in that web is a spider. I guess that's how they migrate. Well, I think one just hit me in the face. My zebra midges are not working as good as I thought they would. One more time. I gotta go. I am in pretty deep water compared to what I was. That might have something to do with it. I would say that you should fish towards the bottom. But if you're not getting bit, come off the bottom, especially in real deep water, like more than 10 feet, 9, 10 feet. They could be suspended down there 4 or 5 feet, and then you're fishing below them. But if you're fishing, I'd say 6 feet or less, there he is. The chances of fishing below them is pretty slim, I would think, unless they're right on the surface, like midging. Small, but he's pretty. Real pretty. Took the red one. All right, I'm gonna fish some more, but I'm gonna say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Hope you come out here and try this and really seek out that chop. See you tomorrow.